Well, hello, this is Jeff Cadiosi, and you're on MisplacedStraws.com, where music comes to life. And this is it, the top 10. Last week, I posted a video featuring best records, numbers 11 through 20, but we are now at the 10 best of 2024. So let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, Steve Conte and the Concrete Jungle. Steve is the consummate rocker. His time with the New York Dolls, his current work with Michael Monroe, he excels in sort of that glam sleaze vein. But this record, however, is just an amazing slice of power pop. Half the tracks were written with Andy Partridge of the band XTC, and the entire record just has that Beatlesque feel of that great band. This is the best work Conti has ever done. I look forward to seeing how he grows from this. Check out the track Shoot Out the Stars. Coming in at 9 is Eclipse and Megalomanium 2. Now, Eclipse, much like House of Lords in our previous video, is another band who just can't put out a bad record. Eric Martinson is just such an amazing writer and singer. Magnus Henriksson is a phenomenal guitar player, and it just works. This was originally intended to be a double album. If you remember, last year they released a record called Megalomanium. They came back with part two this year instead of releasing it all at once. Each volume is stacked with great songs and hit singles. Eclipse is a band that has a core formula, but they still evolve it around the edges of that core to keep things fresh and interesting. Be sure to check out the track The Spark. Number 8 is Judas Priest and Invincible Shield. Who would have believed that after 50 years, Judas Priest is still putting out incredible records? Now, there isn't much left of the classic lineup, but Richie Faulkner has really stepped in and stepped up to meet the challenge of keeping the metal going. And the metal god himself, Rob Halford, just doesn't age. There's a lot of great classic Priest material on this record, but as usual, they always start strong. This is a band, if you take the first track of every record of theirs, you have greatest hits right there. So with this record, we're going to go with Panic Attack. At number 7 is the Black Crowes and Happiness Bastards. When the Black Crowes got back together a few years ago, I think everyone waited to see how long it would last. There were a lot of complaints that the brothers brought in mostly new members rather than the guys that were in the band at the time they broke up. But the bottom line is Chris and Rich Robinson are the Black Crowes. And Happiness Bastards is exactly what I was hoping for in a new record from them. It touches on all facets of the band, but most important, it just rocks. Now, this record was probably the toughest to pick a song from because I think every time I listen to it, I have a different favorite. But we're going to go with the song that really grabbed me first with this record, and that's a track called Flesh Wound. At number 6, Kings of Mercia and Battle Scars. What a band. Steve Overland, he's just one of the great singers in rock. Jim Matheos is probably the most underrated guitarist there is. I'll give you a hint, you're going to see him a little bit later in this countdown. The first record they put out a few years back took everybody by surprise at how great it was. But I actually think they passed it on Battle Scars. It's just a straight up rock record. It allows Steve to really delve into some of the darker themes with his lyrics. With his band FM, we're used to these more upbeat, positive lyrical themes from him. So it's good to hear a change. Check out the track Aftermath. To me, I think it's one of the best songs of the year. Brings us to the top 5. Kicking that off at number 5, Beth Hart. You Still Got Me. Beth Hart is an artist that just means so much to me personally. Every record of hers holds a special place in my collection. Now, on this one, she has some big name guests, Slash and Eric Gales, but her voice is always the standout. And while I love everything she does, to me, there is just nothing better in music than Beth Hart sitting at a piano. And there's a couple piano based tracks on this record. My pick is a song called Don't Call the Police. It just has this swell that just builds up and explodes only the way Beth Hart can do it. Coming in at number 4 Neal Morse and Late Bloomer. Now, we saw Neal in the last video with Joseph Part 2. Late Bloomer, completely different style of record. This record sees Neal in his singer-songwriter mode. Now, the record was put out on his own imprint, so you can only stream it if you use his waterfall service, and not all of the record is featured on YouTube. My absolute favorite song from it is a song called I'm Gonna Miss You When You Go. It's written from the perspective of a parent watching their child move out on their own for the first time. Having gone through that this year when my daughter moved into her first adult apartment, that song kind of hit me hard. Fortunately, it's not available on YouTube, so I'll go with the track that is, and it's another great track called Already There. Time for the top three. Coming in at number 3, what a shock, Neal Morse again, but this time with his band, The Resonance, and their record, No Hill for a Climber. This is Neal's third record in the top 20 and his third different style. We had sort of the conceptual, religious, guest-filled Joseph. We had the singer-songwriter Late Bloomer. Now just the glorious full-on prog No Hill for a Climber. Neal has worked with some great, talented local musicians in the Residents and put together a record that has 2 huge epics that bookend it and 3 shorter songs in the middle. The spirituality of Neal's writing is always there, but it's not preaching. It allows you to dig deep and find in yourself whatever it means for you. I love how he's willing to have everyone have their moment, whether it's sharing the vocals or giving someone a solo. If this is a band project, this isn't a Neal Morse project. The epics here, Eternity in Your Eyes and No Hill for a Climber, are 2 of the best he's ever done. But my song pick is the gorgeous Ever Interceding. Coming in at number 2, the long-awaited record from The Cure and Songs from a Lost World. This is an amazing record. Now, I love The Cure in general, but I particularly love the dark side of the band. I'll take Disintegration and Pornography over something like Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me any day. And this record really explores that beautiful dark side. I saw them back in 2023, and they played most of these songs live before they were released. But hearing the studio versions now makes me want to experience it live all over again. Every time I listen, different song stands out to me. But for my pick, I'm going to go with the stunning A Fragile Thing. That brings us to number 1. I think this might be a surprise for most of you because it really wasn't a big record. It came out very early in the year, and it's from the band North Sea Echoes and the record Really Good Terrible Things. Now, every now and then you hear a record that just makes you stop what you're doing, and a record that you know from the first listen is going to become part of who you are. This is one of those records for me. The band is Ray Alder and Jim Matheos, once again, from Fates Warning. And musically, think some of the darker, quieter moments from The Pleasant Shade of Grey. Jim's songs are amazing, but Ray's voice and lyrics have never been better. When I got to interview Ray for this record, I told him I haven't been this moved by a record in a long time, and it's true. I mean, I find myself just getting lost in songs like Open Book, Unmoved, Flowers in Decay, and We Move Around the Sun. They just really make you look inside yourself. But my pick for a song, and my favorite song of the year, the closing track, No Maps. It just shows you that life's a journey. Wherever you are is where you were meant to be. There you have it, the Misplaced Straws Top 10. Coming in at 10, Steve Conte with the Concrete Jangle. 9, Eclipse and Megalomanium 2. 8, Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. 7, The Black Crowes, Happiness Bastards. 6, Kings of Mercia and Battle Scars. 5, The Incomparable Beth Hart and You Still Got Me. 4, Neal Morse, Late Bloomer. 3 is Neal Morse and the Residents, No Hill for a Climber. 2, The Cure, Songs for a Lost World. And at number 1, North Sea Echoes, Really Good Terrible Things. Thank you so much. I can't express how much all of your support means to me in keeping this site alive. I couldn't shoot a concert or interview a musician if all of you didn't click to check it out. I wish you all the best in 2025. And as always, reach out. Let me know who or what you want to see on Misplaced Straws coming up.